Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Space Engineers as a German engineer. I'm Daniel, I've been born and raised in Germany, and I've been living and working as a software engineer in the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, for the last 10 or so years. Today we have a special episode. We are not in our Let's Play world, but instead I have just installed the Automatons Public Beta, and I want to go and explore a little bit with you guys what we can do here, what the new blocks are, specifically the AI blocks and the event controller, and what that might open up for us. So I want to just like mess around a little bit with it and kind of like see what we can kind of come up with creatively. I'm super excited for this update, and I can't wait for this to actually like properly hit the shelves. Right now, this is a public beta. It's expected to go roughly a week, so by the time that you see this video, you should be still able to opt in. So I actually posted a little short video a few days ago that you can go and find on my channel that it explains to you exactly the steps that you need to take to enable the beta on your own Steam profile for Space Engineers. These are the main blocks that I'm interested in. This is the event controller. I'll just put down a little bit of scaffolding here. There we go, we have a little bit of scaffolding. Let's put a battery here somewhere as well, because we will need power. And here is the magical event controller. It's pretty sweet. It looks really nice. Like, look at this. It looks like a, I don't know, some kind of scientific machine. The other sides are interesting as well. I like this backside here specifically. Looks like a little bit like a vent. And the top and the bottom have these kind of lights on them. So we can get a lot of uses out of this block, I'm sure, outside of its main use cases. I have the AI grid blocks here as well. There's 5 in total. There's the AI flight move, AI recorder task, AI basic task, AI offensive combat, and AI defensive combat. We'll take a look at these in a bit as well. But I want to check out this event controller first. Okay, our normal block controls, but down here we already have, look at this. Event, condition, equal or greater than, equal or less than, a threshold. I guess this here is like the blocks that we can select that we want this trigger to operate on. And we can make it an AND gate. So we can basically say, hey, we only want this to trigger when all of these blocks meet the condition. And then we have actions, yeah. So this is it's like a sensor, right? It's activate, deactivate. Let's look at the events. There's so many. This is amazing. So we have altitude. We have angle changed. We have block added, removed. We have block integrity. Cargo filled percent. Cockpit occupied, connector connected, door opened, gas tank filled percentage. Interesting. Landing gear locked, piston position percent, power output percent, and stored power percent. So a couple things that I'm already thinking here, right, is like, you know how I've been talking about how I was struggling with getting my base to use the air vent instead of the O2H2 generator to collect hydrogen, not hydrogen, oxygen, right? This is definitely, we can definitely fix this with the event controller. There's also door opened will almost certainly allow us to build better airlocks. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sure there's so many things that we can do with this. Let's look at the AI grid blocks quickly as well, and then we'll try to mess around a little bit with at least the event controller. I think the AI blocks might require a little bit more time to dig into than I think makes sense to spend on this today, but these are all the blocks. They don't have control panels on them. No, they do not. Okay. There's a couple of like really nice improvements. When you click on these, you can already see there's over here, status behavior disabled. And it says also error, like it says, for example, hey, no movement info. Please activate a task and or combat block, right, for the AI flight. And then it says grid cannot rotate. Please add gyroscope. And then grid cannot move in one or more directions. Please ensure a thruster is available for each direction. This would have saved me so much time on trying to figure out why the cargo ship wouldn't dock correctly when I started with the remote control block, messing around creating that drone. If I had just said like, hey, you need to add a downwards firing thruster. So there's these task blocks, and then there's the move block, and then there's the 2 combat blocks. I think the AI flight move block, yeah, it gives some very simple or basic controls over the movement of the block or the grid. More so, allows you to specify a speed limit, allows you to specify if you wanted to align to planet gravity, a minimum altitude, a max pitch angle. When moving to a waypoint in P-gravity, the grid may pitch up or down by this angle, and a max roll angle. Okay. So some of these functions, like the precision mode, collision avoidance, and speed limit and stuff like that, we already know from the remote control block. But it doesn't have all the things that the remote control block had control over. It is kind of like the remote control block still exists, but it kind of like they split some of these functions into like sub blocks. Now we have the AI flight move and we have the AI basic task, right, which allows us to do things like follow player, follow home on autopilot. And if you select autopilot, it gives you the ability to create waypoints, just like the old remote control block did. So there's like some of the functions of the old remote control block are an AI flight move, some of them are an AI basic task, and I think even there might be some in here in AI recorder, or at the very least this here is similar to the basic task. Yeah, I wonder if you only really want to have like AI basic or AI recorder on a grid. Now I kind of want to go and experiment with this, but yeah, I think that might be the case, right? Because this one says here, no movement input. Please activate a task and or combat block. So you need to have the move block, and then you need either a task or a combat, or a task and combat block. And the recorder here clearly allows you to actually record. Yeah, here, start recording a new path. Recording adds to the end of an existing record. A path cannot be recorded with the autopilot as enabled. So yeah, this allows you to actually record waypoints, right? That you can like go and fly to. Here, like record interval 1.7 seconds. A waypoint is added when the time suspend is greater than this value. Yeah, and minimum distance. Also, I learned that this not only records the position, but it also records the orientation, which is so good because this will allow us for our cargo ship, when we have to dock it somewhere that is out of alignment with P gravity, basically, it shouldn't be a problem anymore, because the recorder will actually, when we do the docking maneuver, it will actually record the orientation of the ship as well and recreate that. So as long as we bring the ship down at an angle that matches whatever the orientation of the dock is that we want to dock with, it will dock cleanly, and we don't have that problem anymore. So I'm super excited about it. This will be one of the things that I want to do probably relatively soon, is upgrade our drone from using the remote control block to using AI grid blocks. So we have the AI move, AI flight move, AI basic task, AI recorder task, right? AI basic allows us to say stuff like, hey, follow home, and you can set a home position. And in fact, you can actually, home doesn't have to be a static point. I'm actually not sure what the exact way is to add a home here into this list, but I'm pretty sure you can use beacons as well. And that means that you can actually make other ships, like large grid ships, your home. So you can instruct the drone to fly in relationship to something like a carrier, right? You have like a little fighter drone, and then you have a large carrier, and you can kind of configure the drone to fly in relationship to the carrier, for example, land on it or dock to it, or patrol around it, or whatever. So this is really, really cool. And then follow player, I already love the follow player. I'm absolutely going to build myself a little kind of like a butler that like is just gonna carry material, like components, and follows me around whenever I want to build something, so that I don't have to like travel back and forth to cargo containers all the time. And then I can use the event controller and some other blocks here to then, once the components in that little cargo vessel are draining, I can then send it back to get some more for me, without me having to worry about that. It will just like do that automatically, which is like amazing. That actually, now I'm like, yeah, it doesn't seem like I can actually check for specific components, right? I can't say like, hey, how many of this stuff do we have, or of that stuff do we have? But maybe we'll need to build something with some sorter blocks and then have different types of components in different containers, or something like that. But yeah, like still, like, man, like just being able to load up a cargo ship with like a bunch of material that just then flies around me and kind of stays in my vicinity is pretty cool. AI defensive and AI offensive. So these are the two kind of combat blocks, right? Defensive has two main kind of things that you can select. This is the defend against enemies or enemies and neutrals, and then with subsystems. This is actually pretty cool. You can, for example, say, hey, I only want to defend against enemies that have weapons on them, or I only want to defend against enemies that have power systems, just as an example, right? So, and this, by the way, default is all of them. So that's pretty cool. And then target characters, lock targets, flee trigger. So this is like when the grid is supposed to flee. So never, obviously, never flees. Always is like whenever it encounters an enemy, it'll try to flee. When taking damage, it's like when it takes damage. And when target locked, so if the enemy locks the grid as a target, that's when it will flee. And then you can also say where you want it to flee to. Actually, like, I really want to see, like, if I just, excuse me, if I just build another grid over here. Let's add a battery. And let's add a beacon to this. I want to see if I can then just select that. Defensive. There we go. This is amazing. Let's check the other one. What was that? The recorder one, I think, right? Here, yeah, reference beacon. Exactly. Like this is where you can kind of configure your ship to kind of like to record its movements and stuff in relationship to another grid. Like, so if you have a carrier, right, for example. But I think we were actually looking at something else when we were talking about this, right? What was that? What was that the basic task? Oh yeah, I think it was objective follow home. Yeah, so here, home list beacon, right? So we can choose this beacon as the home. This is so amazing. Let's see here. Defense. Let's go back to defensive. Yeah, we can say that it flees to this beacon, and then offensive attack enemies and neutrals. Target characters, target priority closest, largest, smallest. Target search interval, so like how often it will like try to acquire new targets or find a better target. Threatening subsystem. Okay, only enemy grids or enemy and neutral grids that have weapons, propulsion, power systems, or all of them, or any of them, will be considered a threat. Attack pattern, circle orbit. That makes sense. It circles, I guess in peak gravity it circles, otherwise it will orbit around the target. Stay at range, hit and run. So it kind of like closes in and attacks, and then once it hits reaches the break-off distance, it will then go back to the retreat distance and then come back in again. Available weapons, it'll kind of, you can select which weapons you want to use. What else do we have here? What attack patterns? Intercept. Oh, I love this. So this one actually, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, like it's for some kind of like quote unquote interceptor, right? Like if you have another vehicle like flying away or flying in a perpendicular or whatever, you can intercept it with that. But actually what this is, and yes, it will do that, but actually what this is, it'll put your vehicle on a collision course. And I love this, not so much for like, I mean, not because you can crash your spaceship into another spaceship, but you put this on a like torpedo style, rocket style kind of thing. You put a warhead on it, and you put like the AI offensive grid AI on it. You put it on intercept, and then you fire it out of your ship, like kind of on a self-control kind of like targeted torpedo kind of style weapon. This is so cool. I love this. Guidance type basic. Yeah, so it's like it'll basically fly to where exactly its target is. Target prediction, it will look at its kind of trajectory and try to predict where it will be. And I'm not sure what proportional navigation is actually. And it doesn't have a tooltip. Yeah, so these are the AI blocks, the event controller. There are some other blocks in the beta, in fact. I think there's a small grid connector. This used to be the ejector. They actually turned it into a connector now, which I guess is useful if you have a lot of kind of small grid drones that are really, really small because like they don't need a cockpit and whatever. Being able to connect those, charge those, fill up containers, at least with things that pass through small grid or small conveyors, and so forth. I don't know if there's anything else actually. I'm pretty sure there will be signs in the update. I'm not quite sure how they will work exactly, but I've seen them in some of the pre-release material, and I've seen them used in a way that I'm pretty sure you can customize them as well, which I think will be pretty cool. I want to experiment a little bit with the event controller, so I'm gonna go over here and start a new kind of like little platform. Okay, so here's the platform. Let's do one battery again. I want an event controller. Let's put that on top of the battery. The question that I have is like, can I fix my H2O2 generator problem using this here? So I'll get an O2 generator. I'll get a tank, and I need some vents. Are they? No, they're not. Okay. Another thing that will be in the update, which is clearly not in the beta yet, is a full block vent, which I'm kind of excited for. And I might need some conveyors, but I need to make this airtight now, right? Okay, I built this little claustrophobic setup. I have an air vent here, and let's look at it from the outside, I guess. That air vent goes into a O2H2 generator, into an oxygen tank, and another air vent. This air vent here I want to set to depressurize. I guess now my problem is I can't actually test this well because I don't actually have any ice in the generator that would be consumed. Yeah, but the idea would be, I think, to say here in the event controller, gas tank fill percent equal or greater than 100%, oxygen tank 2. So if it's 100%, I want to turn off the auto-H generator. No, turn it on, sorry. Otherwise, I want to turn it off. Right, so the idea is that if my oxygen levels drop below 100%, then I'll turn off the generator. And that means the air vent will have to provide the oxygen. And if it goes above 100%, when the vent has provided the oxygen back again, then it turns back on again. Not because I wanted to produce oxygen, but then I wanted to produce hydrogen when I try to refill my bottles. Yeah, I think something like this would probably work. I think another cool use case would be an airlock. Okay, so here's a little kind of event that I built. I have this door here because, like, obviously the exterior here is not depressurized. But basically, these two event controllers, they listen to the close events of each of these doors, the interior and exterior door of the event. Let me show you just like what I've done here. So let's close this. So the way that this works, right now it's depressurized. We close this exterior door. This will pressurize it. Once it's pressurized, it will open the interior door. When it opens the interior door, it will turn off this block, so this door can't be opened right now. This way we can't accidentally vent the entire ship out into the depressurized space. If we want to go back outside again, we need to close this interior door. This will depressurize the space, and once it's depressurized, it will open the exterior door. Right? Pressurized, door opens. And if we ever kind of lock ourselves in, like this, right? So now we can't open this door because the space is depressurized. We don't want to vent the entire spaceship. Now we can just use a button or some other mechanism. Excuse me. Some other mechanism could also just be a sensor, really, right? To close the exterior door. And the closing the exterior door will open the interior door. Right? It will depressurize the space and then open the pressurize the space and then open the interior door once it's pressurized. Yeah, and so this is a fully automatic functioning. What did I do? Is the Vorführ effect. Yeah, so this is one drawback here. One problem is if you accidentally open and close the door quickly. So I guess it's not perfect, right? But like if I close the door and then immediately open it again, then it will get messed up. But I guess one way to prevent this is could be to immediately turn off the door once it gets closed. But you would have to have another timer block for that, right? If we want to look at this here, we have two doors. The interior door, the exterior door. And then we have the exterior door event controller, which basically toggles off the interior door when it's opened and it stops depressurizing, so pressurizes the airlock when it's closed. And the same but opposite is true for the interior door event controller, right? It will lock or close, toggle off the exterior door when it's opened, and will depressurize the airlock when it's closed. And then the air vent simply delegates to these timer blocks here, on pressurized, on depressurized. And then the on pressurized timer block, right, will toggle on the interior door and will open it. And the on depressurized timer block will toggle on the exterior door and will open it. Obviously, another great use case is so the overflow valves that I used to use on my mines, we can completely replace them with an event controller and cargo percent filled, right? Like when certain cargo containers have reached a certain percentage filled, we can just go and turn off a mine, for example. No need for overflow valves or anything like that. One thing that we still aren't able to do is kind of like cross grid communication. I was hoping that there would be something in here related to antennas, especially like laser antennas. I think can be connected and disconnected. Right? Let's see here. It's a little bit big and not very handy. Is there no? No, there's no control panel on it. Let's see here. Let's just let's have it connect to this one over here, I guess. Yeah, here. Right? So now they're connected. There's no way to kind of like to detect that they are connected or not. I was hoping the event controller would allow something like that, but it does not. It also is a piston position. This is actually interesting here. Let's mess around with that a little bit, because I just realized something about this. The piston, you can use this as sort of memory, which I don't think was possible before. I guess it was possible before with some physical hacks, rotors and sensors and stuff like that. So, but what I mean with memory, right? You can have a piston and an event controller. We'll put a little light here for visualization. And then let's put some buttons here. So, I'm just going to reverse the piston. So the event controller, right, we can now say piston position equal or greater 50%. And then we can turn this on. Oops. And turn this off. Yeah, but basically you can build a bit, right? And turn it on and off here. By retracting the piston or extending it. Like, so the piston has a maximum distance of 0.1 meters, which is probably the minimum. Isn't even the minimum. So it barely moves. But the event controller can read exactly that it's at 0% or at 100%, right? And so we'll be able to say, like, okay, this piston is extended, this light is on. This piston is retracted, the light is off. And the good thing is that the piston will store that information, right? And since we can do an AND gate here, we can have two pistons that have this kind of like information stored. We can now do binary computation. We can have this light here only turn on when both pistons are extended. They're both extended, this turns on. And you can also do, let's say, this piston be the negative of this here. Or of both of them, really, right? Let's do both, actually. I need a couple more buttons here. So each of these pistons functions like a binary memory slot, and these buttons here allow us to write to these, right? So we can toggle it on and off, and like we could set this button to extend and retract, right? So we could set it 1, set it 0, and toggle. And so this one here we want to now compute, and we can use these event controllers also to do computation, right? So we do again piston position 50%. We take piston 1 and 2 and add these and select and select actions. We do piston 3 extend, piston 3 retract. We need to do maximum distance 0.1. Velocity we want to have high. Let's reverse it. Okay. Both are off. One is on. This is still off. The other one is on. This is still off. Let's turn both on. Ah, it is on. This is powerful. This is incredibly powerful. Why is it powerful, you might ask? Well, with these simple operations, you can do any arbitrary computation. Obviously, this is going to be large, but if you want to have more, if you want to have logic, like for example, hey, I want something to only trigger when the door is open and when some other condition is met, like the battery is 100%, you can funnel this through a piston like this. Right? You could map each of these conditions to a piston that is being retracted or extended. You can use small grid pistons, right? You can put these event controllers underneath, on top of the pistons. You can put it all on a small grid block somewhere, and you have you can do logic. I don't think this was possible before, so that's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. Awesome. Hey, I can't wait for this update to finally hit to finally be released, not just as a beta, but that we can actually start working with it in our Let's Play world. The fact that you can do actual logic with this now is mind-blowing, and I'm super excited. So thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It greatly helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe. I upload Space Engineers videos twice a week, and there's lots of other stuff to explore on the channel. And if you know people that might enjoy this type of video as well, please make sure to share it with them. That's the best way to help the channel grow. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.